Last night and yesterday started very early. I went on a hike. I love pickles, yeah. So I took a bag of pickles with me, as one does. And I have this like hiking jacket that I thrifted, and I'm so fucking proud of it. It is so cool. It has like 15 pockets. I'm not even exaggerating. It has one on the back, like on the back on the inside, and on the back on the outside, where you keep like your hiking stick thing and your mat and everything. And then in the front, like a huge one on the side, inside the front, and I keep like a water bottle in there. And then I have a huge pocket here, and I keep a book. I always keep a book, and it's so fucking big. I was able to keep Gemina by Gemina by Jay Kristoff and Emmy Kaufman. That's a huge book. That's like this much book. That's a lot of book. So I was able to keep it in there, and on the other pocket I kept a little poetry one. And then I keep stuff, and I'm fucking hungry all the time. Like I eat all the time. So I had like a little bag, and I made tacos, and I took them with me, and a burrito. I made 4 burritos, and I ate 4 burritos. And I had like a little cake. I love cake. And I had like a bag of pickles. And then I don't really talk to people like that. It's difficult. And then someone wanted to borrow a lighter, and I was like, sure, yeah, for sure. There you go. And then I pulled out my stuff, and then everything fell from my pocket, including the bag of pickles. And then they were like, why do you need those? And I was like, I like pickles. And then all the way there, like they wouldn't like talk to me, but they kept looking at me, and I cannot make eye contact, but I kept like, I have like a very wide peripheral vision spectrum, so that was fucking weird. And we had like to spend 6 hours together on a certain course. That was weird. Anyways, I was gonna talk about a book. Story time, I guess. I read a book, and it is by far the most unhinged, the most psychotic book that I've ever read in my life, and I need you all to read it because it is so fucking cool. Hi, how are you? I do hope you're doing okay. If you're not doing okay, let me suggest a book that will 100% distract you. I Have No Name and I Must Scream by Harlan Ellison. Right out of the bat, the goddamn title is so intriguing. It is so entertaining. I loved it so much. This is the cover art, and it's so interesting. And this being on the cover art is something that you will read about. It is in there, and it is psychotic. It is unhinged. So basically, the story follows 5 individuals who are being severely tortured by a machine called that they had created several hundreds of years ago. Yes, hundreds of years ago. And now it has evolved so much, advanced so much, that it became extremely powerful, not just sentient and conscious, but extremely powerful, to the point where it has the ability to make them immortal and to keep torturing them severely, extremely, to points of literally no return. They will, if it hadn't had the power to make them immortal, they would have died by the ways they were being tortured. Listen to this masterpiece. I had read this, downloaded it, read it, and then found the audiobook, listened to it back to back, baby. Listen to this masterpiece. It is free on YouTube, read by the author himself, and he is incredible. He is incredible at reading it. It is so unhinged. I loved it. It is so subversive. I loved it. It's very short. It's like 100 something. It's very, very short. The POV kind of splits in a very unorganized way between the machine, and one of the recipients, not the recipient, one of the people that have been that have helped in creating in my opinion, is a perfect villain. He is a perfect villain. He is, I don't know, I'd like to sit one day to organize my thoughts and analyze his type of evil, because it is extremely interesting. Could not wander. Could not wonder. Could not belong. He could only be. I love that quote so much, because you can see, especially while listening to it, before that quote was said, what had happened, and after that quote was said, what had happened, and why it was said, and why they drove him to a point where he's doing these things. I loved this quote so much because it makes me empathize with M and understand in such simple wording what these people have created, the machine they have created, what they opted to create, and why it became the way it became. And how it is humanity's fault, and how, so simply put, we are gonna get there. This is a possibility for humans. The hopelessness, the despair, the desolation, the descent into madness that is consecutive, continuous, and eternal to both sides. From the human side, it is internal and eternal, and from the machine side, eternal and psychotic. The pain, the panic, you could feel all of it, especially listening to this by the author. He had done an incredible job at reading his own work. Every feeling feels intentional, if that makes sense. Every word that the author has written in this book feels intentional. It is exactly where it's supposed to be, and the feeling that it gives you is exactly where it's supposed to land in you, wherever it is. What I mean by that is sometimes I be listening to this and I feel this panic in my heart, and I feel this pit in my stomach, and sometimes I feel this like complete physical, I don't know, physical panic where I start to, fucking clench every goddamn orifice and every limb that I have, and everything, every physical reaction that was opted from me while reading the book, while listening to the book, feels intentional. It feels like this is what the author wanted you to feel, and they succeeded in making us feel those things. And I felt all of them in such an overbearing panic feeling that I loved this one so much. When I say it's unhinged, bitch, it's fucking psychotic. It is unhinged. I loved it. It feels like gunmetal, if that makes any sense to anything and anybody outside of my brain. Reading this, listening to this feels like tasting gunmetal. It feels like tasting zinc and iron. It feels like if the taste of blood was a book, it would be this book. If you're looking for something different, something short, something easy, something subversive, something very fun, and something that will have you thinking if you allow it to, if you want to have a full-on conversation about a book, I have no mouth and I must scream. I want to say what happens at the end so bad because of the title and the art, the cover art. This is what happens at the end. I want to talk about it so much, but I don't want to spoil, because this was such a fun read and very unexpected read that I want you to go through that ride. If you read it or have read it, please let me know what you think in the comments. I cannot wait to talk about this one. Other than that though, thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'm gonna see you next video.